Do you sometimes sit down unsure of what you should write next? Do you sit down with no idea in your mind and no clue in the outline as to what should happen next in your story? Maybe it's because your protagonists or the main characters in your story happen to be the kind of people who don't get in trouble, or who sneak their way out of trouble, or who just enjoy the comfort in life and don't really have enemies. Sometimes in writing, we don't know where we're going, and sometimes our characters don't help. Today I have a guided writing exercise just for you. It's titled, "This is Fine," and this was a topic selected by my patrons. Let's take it from the top. What's the goal of this video? The goal of this video is to give you a nice guided exercise. I'm going to provide with you a series of situations and events, and I want you to take the time to write. If you are waiting for a sign that today is a good day to get some writing done, well, guess what? You clicked on this video, you're already watching, you can't turn around. Today we're gonna get some writing done. I'm gonna provide you with 5 scenarios of increasing terribleness, and you're gonna write about them. And if you don't have the time to write right now, I want you to brainstorm about them. I want you to just, instead of full-on prose, just write ideas of what you would do in the situation, of what your characters would do, how they would react, how the events would follow. The key today is to just think about your story. And if you can't full-on write about it, then just brainstorm about it. Think about your story within the confines of this writing exercise. Again, make it work for you. If you're wondering why I'm not using a timer today, I have an explanation why. It's very lengthy, so I have it in the description of this video. The timer as for how long you want to write today is completely up to you. If you want to do 5-minute bursts, 10-minute bursts, then I'm going to leave that up to you. There will be signs on the video telling you when to pause and when to move on. I'm going to leave that up to you, okay? I don't know what kind of time you're working on. I don't know how much free time you have. So if you just want to brainstorm today, or if you just want to do big 1-hour writing sessions per segment, I'm going to leave that to you. Okay? Okay. So, the subject of today is a terrible series of scenarios to push your character into taking action, or if anything, facing consequences. Even for things they might have not even done. The easiest way to get someone to move is to light a fire under them. And today, we're gonna light many fires. There is a bit of an unspoken rule in fiction about how you should always inconvenience your characters and never convenience them. They should always be way more unlucky than they are lucky. When a character is lucky, when things just so happen to work for them, it feels a little cheap. Because we're robbed of the emotional strife, emotional personal growth, and of course, the struggle of bad things happening to them. Today, nothing is going to go the way of your character. Nothing is gonna go the way of your character, and things are gonna get real bad. Just you wait. But first, again, let's set the stage. I want you, as always, to go grab a notebook, open up your favorite writing software of choice, minimize this video if you have to, you know the deal. Get within your comfort zone, hopefully put on headphones. I hope you are working in a nice quiet environment. And again, if you're not going to be writing today, if you're not going to be doing big writing sessions, then just set the timer for a couple minutes and brainstorm. Brainstorm what your characters would do in these scenarios, how you would write it, what you would do. We got 5 exercises to go through. So I think it's about time we get started, okay? I'm gonna assume you have all your stuff ready to go, and I'm assuming that you are in a state to get some work done today. And so, let us take it from the top. Today we're gonna begin. I want you to take one of your characters. It could be your main character, or any character in your story, and it can be whatever story you have. Whether it is modern, supernatural, science fiction, fantasy, whatever it is, and describe to the reader a bad morning for them. Describe a bad morning. What is it like for them? If you are going the full-on writing route, take us through the steps. Summarize to us the events of their bad morning. Did they spill coffee on themselves? Did they miss their bus? Was someone mean to them as soon as they walked through the door at work? Did they get called in early? Did that one person who never shows up on time not show up on time and inconvenience them? Inconveniences. Little inconveniences. Again, summarize to the reader and to us. Give us a summary, a quick explanation of the events that would mean to your character a bad morning. If you need to pause the video, do so. There will be a little timer on the screen, so I'm going to leave that up to you, okay? I'll meet you on the other side. Now, a bad morning is just a bad morning, and a lot of the days in our lives begin with bad mornings. I want you to follow this character through the early hours of their day. Let's say, for instance, that if your character works a regular 9 to 5, we catch up to them during their lunch hour. This time, you're not gonna summarize anything. This time, we're gonna focus on dialogue. I want you to write or brainstorm a conversation between your character and another character. It can be a coworker, it can be a friend, on the phone, or through texts. But this is not just any conversation. You're not gonna catch up about the movie that just came out, or that one thing that one person said on Twitter. This is not what this is about. Your character is getting a call, or is having a conversation with a coworker about something terrible. Something bad has just happened to your character. This is about your character. And this completely overshadows the morning. No matter how bad you thought that morning was, this call just topped it. And tell us through dialogue, through the act of characters talking back and forth to one another, what the bad news are, the bad news are, and how our character reacts to them. What do they immediately jump to doing? Is it disbelief? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it uncertainty? How do they react to bad news? You know the drill. Set your timer, pause the video if you have to, and I'll meet you on the other side. Okay? Okay. Alright, so your characters had a bad morning. Really bad morning. A really bad set of news. They just got off the phone with their friend, family member, loved one, whatever it is, and they got a real bad set of news. A part of their life has just changed. And it's worse, it's oh so worse than their morning. I want you right now to take a second and give us, the readers, the viewers, give us a moment of reflection. Because you know, when something bad happens to you, you don't think about all of the consequences right away. It takes hours for you to realize how every part of your life has just changed. So take a second. Give us your character's inner thoughts. Give us their reaction, their reflection as they think on this event, this set of bad news that has just changed a part of their life. You know that feeling, that dreadful feeling, when you little by little, almost as though flipping cards face up, you realize, oh, and this is also bad, and this is also bad, and this has changed. When life comes at you, it comes at you real fast, and we ain't even started yet. So take a minute. Whether you're writing or brainstorming, consider what your character would do in the following hours. Give us an insight into what's inside their mind. The way they're thinking about this, the way they're reflecting, their own manners of dealing with this problem. Whether it is being really angry about things, being really sad about things, or immediately looking for solutions. No matter how resourceful they are, though, they have to realize that this is a big change. How are they dealing with it? Or are they even dealing with it? Sometimes characters just ignore their problems, but take us into their mind. Whether it is that immediate moment, or spending the following hours, let us into their mind, let us see what they see, give us their reaction to this life-changing moment. Set your timer, pause the video, you know what to do. Focus, get ready, and write. And now we are at the really fun part. Because when things get bad, they don't just get bad. And if things are gonna inconvenience our character, they should really inconvenience our characters. You thought what happened earlier today was bad? You thought that morning was bad? You thought that handful of news from a friend was bad? Disaster is a pretty good way to describe it. If you're not sure about something so great, something so terrible and personal that would tear your character's life apart, then have them take part in a disaster that envelops hundreds, thousands of lives. Have it be, if you want to, an impersonal thing, a real disaster. You thought this day was bad? You thought those bad news were bad? Wait until the world is literally ending right now. Think of the worst thing that could happen to your character right now. Extra points if it's something completely outside of their control. Especially if it's outside of their control. And I'm not kidding. If the world must end, kid, make the world end. Set your timer. Get ready. Go. I purposefully did not bring up the idea of death happening to one of your characters, mostly because I assumed I assumed most of you would be foolish enough to put your favorite character in this. I am mostly joking, but in part of this is because death is seen as the worst thing that can happen to a character, and I endlessly disagree with that. There are fates worse than death. And of course, this last exercise deals with that. There is a fate worse than death, dear viewer. Dear readers, there is a fate worse than death for our characters. Continuing to suffer, though? Continuing to survive in a world in ruins? With a life in ruins? Now that right there, I think that's the rough stuff. And for our final exercise today, I hope you're having fun. For our last exercise today, I want you to write, or to brainstorm, the aftermath. The aftermath of this terrible day, or terrible week or months. However you did it, however you made it work for you, I want you to take a second and to reflect again. Just like your character reflected after that terrible call, they're gonna reflect again. Think about this event that just happened to them. It might be hours after the apocalypse. It might be days after their heart was broken by the person they loved most. It could be them burying their friends or their dreams. Whatever it is, whatever they are, now is the time for reflection. Take us inside of their head, into what they're thinking, into how this event has changed them as a person. Dear viewer, it is unfortunately true that we learn more, we grow more from the bad things that happen to us than the good things that happen to us. And today we're gonna witness a little bit of growth. Hopefully a little bit of growth. You never know. Some characters are really stubborn. But that here is not the point. The point is for you to take us inside someone's head. This is not about success or failure. If your character changes, you don't win, and if they don't change, you don't fail. This is about showing us their point of view, how they view the world, how they think now, and how they've changed or not changed after this world-shattering event. It might actually be the end of the world, or just the end of their dreams. Whatever it is, take a deep breath. Is this fine? Is it fine now that the fallout has begun? Is it fine now that the fires are starting to die out? Is it fine? That's the question I want you to answer. Is it fine? Be strong. Commit to your story and your character. Write, brainstorm, set your timer. And for the last time today, go! Is it fun to make our character suffer? Are we better off or worse off by keeping our characters within their comfort zones? And although there is that archetype, you could say, or I guess rather stereotype, of the writer who enjoys making their character suffer, I don't see myself that way. And you may think that that's a funny thing to say, considering that I created this exercise that involves a character's life being torn asunder. In increasing levels of difficulty when you think about it. But I didn't do that out of a gratuitous sense of making someone suffer. Because it is true that sometimes our characters are really comfortable. And it is true that sometimes we write characters who are almost invincible to the struggle in their lives, or really the crux of their story. I have talked in the past about the idea of characters who are overpowered, and characters who just seem to be immune to bad things around them, or who always find a way to sneak out of problems. And the key of this exercise was to inconvenience characters. You know, it's easy to bounce back from a bad morning. It's easy to stay positive after a really bad set of news. The end of the world, though? Or the end of your world? Now that right there demands a character to grow. Or to at least look at life from a different point of view. It is true that sometimes in writing we look at the opposition. We look at conflict as this opposing force, as an antagonist standing in your way with a big sword on the back of a dragon who's way more powerful than you, and you have to find a way to defeat it. And while that's a way of telling stories, and some stories have that, and that's fine. I'm not here to bash on that. I'm here to help you realize that stories don't always have that kind of conflict. My favorite kind of conflict is personal, internal conflict. About the conflict between what we want, what the world around us wants of us, and what we got. What we're willing to sacrifice, how far we're willing to go, and at the end of the day, our thoughts on the world around us, whether it is in flames or a paradise. I hope you had fun. I hope you did lots of brainstorming, and I hope that you did lots of writing as well. I hope that character of yours is doing better, hopefully. Or if anything, I hope that they are a much more interesting character. Because the truth is that yes, we are made of the bad things that happened to us. For better or for worse, we're made of the bad things that happened to us. Of the unfortunate truths, the inconvenient days, and the disasters we witnessed. Although it may seem scary, although it may seem hard to make our characters suffer, although it may seem incredibly daunting to write a scene in which things don't go their way, you must. You cannot allow your characters to stay happily sitting on their laurels, because stories are about changing. Perception is key to storytelling. That bad morning may seem like the worst thing that's happened to you in forever, but you never know. And there's always something worse that could happen. And in writing, it is our job, as the storyteller, to put our characters through hell. For the best, honestly. For their own sake. So that they grow, they become stronger, and they help us, the readers, experience the struggle of growing up, the struggle of growing stronger, from someone else's point of view. This video is brought to you thanks to my patrons who decided on this topic. If you'd like to help me continue to do videos like this and workshops like this and get to vote on their topics and get to watch them a month before they go live on YouTube, then please consider pledging to my Patreon page. $1 is all it takes. $1 is all I ask of you. And you get cool rewards, like getting to watch videos like this one a month before they go live on YouTube, and the rest of my writing advice videos a week before they go live on YouTube. You also get to vote on the topic of these workshops, and if you pledge a little bit more, you get more perks, like copies of my books, access to my physical writing scene that I mail out every month, and of course, a shout out, like the following people on the screen. Thank you so much, guys, for helping me create stuff like this. This was fun. This was a bit of a change of pace for me, and I hope that it was fun. At least for you, not for your character. I'm sure they didn't have a good time. Sometimes all it takes for a character to grow and for their story to start is for them to experience one really, 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 really bad day.